A nun drives an old truck along a road in Mexico. She's listening to music and smoking. Music plays on the radio as a mother scolds her children about getting ready for school. Her brother tells her to take things easy. She's upset that he spoils the kids and makes it difficult to discipline them. As the children leave for school, the uncle calls after Antonio and reminds him they're meeting at Karen's place after school. The father is sitting silently at the kitchen table in his luchador mask. The mother quietly looks at the father before sitting down for breakfast. Her brother joins her and she asks if her husband's behavior seems odd. Her brother isn't sure. Later, he'll be wrestling guys half his age, and they expect him to show more emotion about it. Karen, the nun, picks up her father. He puts on a shirt and gets in the truck. He asks how her new job is going. They make small talk, but she interrupts him to shout at people on the road. He goes quiet. The man wakes up in a light blue room. He's wearing colorful pajamas. There's nothing in the room, and there seems to be no ceiling. A strange-looking button sticks out of the wall. He investigates and carefully presses it. It makes a sound and more buttons appear, causing the man to scream. The education begins. The man asks where he is. He'd like to go home. He touches one of the buttons and a toothbrush appears. Another button causes a megaphone to appear. He uses the megaphone to ask what's happening. He apologizes for whatever he did and simply wants to go home. He presses buttons and a bonsai and an empty vase pop out. One of the buttons causes chopsticks to fall out. He keeps pushing the button and more chopsticks fall out. He eventually finds it funny and presses another button. A flatbed trolley rolls out and hits his foot. He screams and angrily presses another button. The shape of a butt appears out of the wall and releases a loud, stinky fart. Antonio's classmates tease him about his father, saying he'll lose the match. Antonio defends his father by saying that someone who is truly strong doesn't need to show it. The bullies call him stupid and weird. All the kids rush to their seats as the teacher walks in. In the blue room, the man has pressed more buttons and all sorts of strange things are spread out on the floor. Eventually, some sushi falls out. He's hungry and relieved for food. He asks for soy sauce and presses a number of different buttons, but only sushi falls out. Finally, he eats the sushi without any soy sauce. When he's done, he presses a button and soy sauce appears. He's annoyed and hits the bottle. He presses a button that causes 3D glasses to appear. The glasses show him which button to press next. He's happy and pushes it. The light switches off and there's a countdown. The man desperately begs for his life. A massive butt lowers down from above and gives off a more significant, smellier fart than before. Karen drops off her father, escargot man, at the arena for his match. He looks at a picture of his family on his locker door. He begins to slowly and carefully dress for his match. Once he's dressed, he stretches and does some exercises. Antonio's mother sits at home doing needlework. She looks at the clock and worries about her husband. There are more things in the blue room. The man sits reading a comic book. He presses a button for the 6th volume, but the 7th volume appears. He presses the button again and causes volumes 8, 9, and 10 to appear. In trying to press a button for the right comic, he presses a button that opens a doorway. The doorway disappears. The man tries to find the same button again, but causes someone else to run through the room instead. Another button causes a stream of water to continuously fall on his head. He screams with frustration. The man finally presses the right button, but the door closes when he reaches it. No matter how hard he tries, he can't run across the room in time. He tries using a fly swatter and a skipping rope to hit the button so he can get to the door, but none of them works. He uses the flatbed trolley to roll through the doorway, but it barely moves. He makes a number of attempts at keeping the button down. He carries over the vase and puts it on the button, but it still resets and the door closes. He imagines himself as a comic book character and makes a plan. He decides to press the button for water, but it doesn't fill up the jug. It follows him wherever he goes. He can't get enough water into the jug no matter how hard he tries. Escargot Man drinks water and prays before his match. Karen prays for her father. Antonio sits with his uncle outside the church and waits for Karen to pick them up. The man fills the vase by continuously pressing the button for sushi. When it's full, he discovers it's too heavy to move. He uses chopsticks to take out sushi slowly. It's light enough for him to carry. He can't remember which button is for the door and accidentally makes someone run through the room again. The vase breaks and the man goes crazy. He packs sushi on the button, but it doesn't work. He fetches duct tape and uses it to keep the button down, but it's not strong enough. He tries using a sign and tapes that down too, but it doesn't work, and the doorway hits him on the butt as it closes. Karen drops off Antonio and her uncle at the arena. The place is packed and they're just in time. They manage to find 2 open seats. The man wakes up from a terrible night of sleep in the blue room. His back is sore and he's annoyed. He presses buttons for toothpaste so he can brush his teeth and causes a rope to lower down. The rope disappears after a few seconds. He thinks he can use the rope to swing to the door. It works, but he discovers the door is locked. The doorway closes on his butt. He's angry and kicks a button that causes a key to appear. He can't remember which button he kicked, and every one he presses causes a dog's head to reach out from the wall and bark at him. He finally finds the right button and marks it with a piece of sushi. He thinks of himself as a comic book character again. He tries using the rope to swing between the doorway and the key, but he can't get far enough. He looks at a plunger and uses it. The first time he puts the plunger on the key. The second time, he makes it to the door and unlocks it. He reaches to open it, but there's a padlock on the top of the door. The closing doorway hits him on the butt again. The man is angry and throws the plunger, which strikes a button and causes the same guy to run through the room. He sees numbers on the back of the guy's head and realizes it's the code for the padlock. He repeats his plan 3 times to put the code in and manages to avoid the doorway closing on his butt each time. He unlocks the padlock and begins to open the door when the doorway closes. There's not enough space for him to open the door and escape. He's stuck and calls for help. He sits in the small area and cries. The sushi in the blue room has gotten old. The man thinks fondly about the time he spent in the room when he was bored. He played Jenga, walked a fake dog, tried on clothes, curled his hair, read a magazine, played Twister, and pretended to be a boxer in the ring. He feels a draft next to him and discovers that the panel next to the door opens. He's delighted and begins running through the seemingly endless hallway. The announcer talks to the crowd about how special this match is. There will be 2 fighting duos pitted against each other. The first duo is the Devils of the North, made up of El Super Demonio and Tequila Joe. The crowd goes wild and they're clear favorites. Antonio asks his uncle if Escargot Man will be okay. Escargot Man walks through the backstage area and passes a bleeding man who was beaten by the Devils of the North. He meets with his wrestling partner, Aguila de Plata. They enter the arena and are introduced as the duo Besame Mucho. They give a bouquet to each wrestler. The Devils of the North start hitting Besame Mucho using the bouquets. The man finally reaches another room. It's a large round room with gray walls and more buttons. The implementation begins. The man screams as he looks at the gray room. His pajamas are different. Aguila de Plata is fighting El Super Demonio. Aguila de Plata is winning until Tequila Joe joins the fight. Aguila de Plata tricks them into hitting each other and manages to tap out. Escargot Man enters the ring. In the gray room, the man touches one of the buttons. As a result, Escargot Man's neck stretches. The man presses the button again, and Escargot Man's neck stretches, knocking out both El Super Demonio and Tequila Joe. Nothing happens in the gray room. Besame Mucho's team wins, and they celebrate. The man is confused as nothing happens when he presses the button. He keeps pushing it and causes Escargot Man to accidentally knock out his teammate, the announcer, and his son. His head keeps hitting the bell. In Los Angeles, there's a concert for a metal band. The man walks around the gray room, causing the lead singer to breathe fire. The audience thinks it's part of the special effects for the concert. In Russia, a magician and his assistant are recording tricks for a television show. He makes a handkerchief vanish and will make his assistant disappear next. He's about to perform the vanishing trick when the man presses another button, causing everyone in the studio to freeze. In China, a man sits in the courtyard of his house, surrounded by dogs. Everything is calm until the man presses a button that makes all the dogs start barking. The man is bored in the gray room. He walks to the middle of the room and looks up. There's a light from above, and there seems to be no ceiling. He presses buttons that cause flowers to bloom. He uses the buttons to climb up the wall. As he climbs, he presses buttons. Animals are born, wars start, buildings fall, and sports teams win. Every button has a cause and effect in the real world. The man has been climbing for so long that his hair has grown and he has a full beard. It's as though he's floating up along the wall. He makes good and bad things happen. Feathers fall around him. He's now floating up through the middle of the room. Hundreds of feathers fall around him. He disappears into the white light. He floats through the floor of another room. The feathers settle on the floor, and so does he. His pajamas have changed again. Mountains extend from the walls, and the man looks at a giant button. The future begins. The man calmly walks towards the giant button and presses it.